Welcome back to another monthly portfolio update. If you are stopping by for the first time, please do me a favor, subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. In this video, I will share with you how much I invested in December, the number of shares that I bought, and the value of my portfolio at the end of December. But before I continue, a quick disclaimer. The information that I'm sharing does not constitute financial advice. Before you invest in anything, please do your own research and make sure that you only invest in things that you understand. With that being said, I will dive right into my portfolio update. I will start with a quick recap of my November portfolio to show you the value of the portfolio and the number of shares that I had before the beginning of December. The total equity of my portfolio as of November the 30th was $36,916.28. $36,857.72 was the market value of my investments, and $58.56 was the cash amount. At the end of November, my portfolio was up $670.77. This was a plus 1.85%. These are my holdings, 2 Vanguard ETFs and 2 BlackRock ETFs. The first Vanguard ETF is VCN. This is an ETF that tracks the entire Canadian market, and I had 60 shares of VCN as of November the 30th. The second Vanguard ETF is VFV. This is an S&P 500 index ETF. Actually, this is the Canadian version of VOO, and I had 200 shares of VFV as of November the 30th. The first BlackRock ETF is XEQT. This is an all-in-one equity ETF which holds Canadian equities, US equities, other developed market equities, and emerging market equities. And I had 312 shares of XEQT as of November the 30th. If you want to hold only one equity ETF which is well diversified, this may be good for you. The second BlackRock ETF is XUU. This is a US total stock market ETF, and I had 170 shares of XUU as of November the 30th. I will now show you how much I invested in December and the number of shares that I bought. In December, I bought 2 shares of VCN. The cost per share was $39.90. The total cost, $79.80. This represents 4% of the total amount that I invested in December. I bought 10 shares of VFV. The cost per share was $94.17. The total cost, $941.68. This represents 48% of the amount that I invested in December. I bought 22 shares of XEQT. The cost per share was $24.53. The total cost, $539.72. This represents 28% of the amount that I invested in December. I bought 10 shares of XUU. The cost per share was $39.72. The total cost, $397.22. And this represents 20% of the amount that I invested in December. In total, I bought 44 shares, all of the ETFs combined. And the total amount that I invested was $1,958.42. This is $323.77 more than the amount that I invested in November. As you can see here, in November, I invested $1,634.65. And in December, $1,958.42. The difference is $323.77. I will now show you the value of my portfolio and the number of shares that I had at the end of December. The total equity of my portfolio as of December the 31st was $36,801.69. This is basically the same as the market value of my investments, as the only cash amount that I had was 1 cent. At the end of December, my portfolio was down $1,343.70. This is minus 3.52%. As of December the 31st, 2022, I had 62 shares of VCN, 210 shares of VFV, 334 shares of XEQT, and 180 shares of XUU. Let's now take a look at some details about each of the positions. I will start with VCN. The closing market price on December the 30th was $39.12. The quantity of shares that I had, 62. The average price, $40.27. The book value, $2,496.64. This is the amount that I have invested in VCN. The market value, $2,425.44. This is 6.59% of my portfolio. With VCN, I am down 2.85%, or $71.20. Next, we have a VFV. The closing market price on December the 30th was $92.17. The quantity of shares that I had, 210. The average price, $95.38. The book value, $20,030.02. The market value, $19,355.70. This is a 52.59% of my portfolio. With the VFV, I am down 3.37% or $674.32. Then we have XEQT. The closing market price on December the 30th was $24.11. The quantity of shares that I had, 334. The average price, $25. The book value, $8,350.50. The market value, $8,052.74. This is 21.88% of my portfolio. With XEQT, I am down 3.57% or $297.76. Finally, we have XUU. The closing market price on December the 30th was $38.71. The quantity of shares that I had, 180. The average price, $40.38. The book value, $7,268.22. The market value, $6,967.80. This is 18.93% of my portfolio. With XUU, I am down 4.13% or $300.42. As you may have noticed, my portfolio went from plus 1.85% at the beginning of December to minus 3.52% at the end of December. Well, 2022 was really a tough year for the stock market. The S&P 500 was down almost 20% in 2022. The S&P TSX Composite Index, which is the Canadian benchmark index, fared a little bit better than the S&P 500. It was down 8.72% in 2022. The stock market started taking hit around March 2022 when central banks began raising interest rates to fight inflation. For example, in Canada, at the start of 2022, short-term interest rate was 0.25%. From March 2022 to the end of December 2022, the interest rates went from 0.25% to 4.25%. This is really a huge increase in just 1 year. The Bank of Canada raised its rate 7 times in 2022. The US Federal Reserve also raised its key interest rate 7 times in 2022. The rate went from 0.25% in March to 4.50% at the end of December. We may see some interest rate hikes in 2023 too, as inflation is still high. In November, the US inflation rate was 7.11%, and the Canadian inflation rate was 6.8%. There have been signs that inflation is coming down a little bit, but the inflation figures are still high. The inflation target for the Bank of Canada is a range of 1 to 3%. It may take some time and more rate hikes to get back to that target range. There are a lot of uncertainties as to whether the stock market will recover in 2023. Some economists and analysts are predicting a recession in early 2023. Some are saying that the stock market will go further down in the first half of 2023 before rebounding in the second half of the year. But these are just predictions and forecasts. No one really knows for sure what will happen or how the stock market will do. Personally, I'll stay the course and keep investing consistently. If the stock market falls further and I have cash reserve, I will buy more shares since I am investing for the long term. Well, there you have it. Happy New Year 2023, and let's see what 2023 brings in. Feel free to leave a comment below. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace out.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign.